Welcome aboard. Happy Friday. You are watching, mm, you are watching a simulcast of a Zoom workshop that I give every single Friday for the people who are in my service. What does that mean? That means that they're in one of my masterminds. That means they're a private client, or that means they've worked with me at some capacity in the past. And I open up a Zoom every Friday at about this time, at about midday here on the East Coast of the US. And we just have open conversations about things as they relate to marketing, growing a business, being a better human being, performing at your absolute best. And so here we are today, and then I will go live to YouTube just so that we can chat and so that you can see what it's like to be a part of this. And so you can ask me questions too. A lot of times people on YouTube have questions. So the topic at hand before we went live was about AI and was about how AI gets its information and how AI presents its information. Somebody says, have you ever at least considered writing a book? I have considered writing a book and all the time. And the book I want to write a children's book. And in particular, a children's book for like 4-year-olds. And the reason that I want to do this is because I have 4 children. They've all been 4 years old. Those books have cardboard pages. They're very thick. So your book only has to have maybe 7 or 8 pages. And the pages only have like 2 or 3 words on them. So I've got to write at max 24 words. And I'll have a book. So I consider that all the time. I want to write a book where the pages are cardboard and I only have to write 3 words. I have not considered writing a book or getting on or doing any of the things that everybody else does because I don't want to do the things that everybody else does. You know what I've considered doing? I consider waking up every morning and pouring myself into my clients and giving my clients the absolute best results that they could possibly imagine anywhere. Right? It is a good idea, the children's book. I wake up every morning not saying, how do I write a book or how do I do the thing? I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want to do what no one else is doing. I am pouring myself into my clients and I'm making sure that they get like results that make other people nervous. That's what I say. When you become a client of mine, I want the results you get to make other people nervous. I want people to look at you and go, what are you doing? And I know, and I never want you to tell them it's me. I want it all to be about you. That's something else. I'm not gonna. It's all about you, my dear clients who are here. That's the only thing I think about, aside from writing a children's book on cardboard pages with 3 words on a page. I actually do have it. I have a private client. I can't say too much. I have a private client, and we together are going to write a book. But it is going to be a children's book. But it's not. It is not. It's not as jokey as I just put it. We have a children's book idea that we think is going to be bonkers. But that's all I can say about that. So yes, I have considered writing it. Thanks for asking, but really, I just wake up every day with one mission. I literally wake up 7 days a week thinking, how can I get this person better results? And I go through all the clients I work with, and for me, that's hundreds of people. But sometimes I think of them in large groups, and other times I think of them as individuals. Like my private clients, I think of as individuals, and I'm like, how can I get that person to be even better? Without giving too much away, I had a private client yesterday struggle with something. That's all we need to say. They struggled with something and they messaged me and they just said struggled with something, and we hopped on a call and framed it in the right way. And it turns out that when you struggle with something, it turns out to be a really good thing, and they're really happy about it. So it was kind of cool. All right, so we're here. We were talking about AI, and can you really trust AI? And I just want to tell you, I just want you to be really careful. I want you to be really careful. And I could probably take some notes for you on this. I don't know. You want to just have a fireside chat, or do you want some notes? I don't know. Maybe I'll put some notes down. But Here are some things, here are some considerations for you. Um, Number one, the people who depend heavily on I observe, this is my observation, I don't have data to back this up because I don't think this has been studied, are tend to be the people who want, if you just AI is the only thing you do. And I see people that do this. I see people that start businesses totally based on AI. And I'm in forums and groups where people are like, hey, I want to use this AI to start a business. How do I do that? Well, if you don't know how to start a business with this, what are you doing? Like, I don't know how to make a really good taco, but I know people like tacos, but I'm not going to say, hey, how do I start a food truck that I sell tacos? If you don't know how to do something, you have exactly you have zero business starting a business doing it. Although, you know what? I kind of wish you would do that. I kind of wish more people would do that. It hurts me for a little while, but then ultimately, when you normalize idiots starting businesses, doing something that they're not qualified to do, it then makes people who are qualified to do it like look like superheroes. It just takes a little bit of time. We saw this happen with the pandemic when everybody became whatever they felt like becoming. And I used to see it. It's like everybody showed up turning to be some kind of a marketing expert. And a lot of people who come to me now say, hey, I got burned by I spent money with this person. Turns out they didn't know what they were doing. Sadly, the people that I work with had to figure that out the hard way. They had to lose money on it. Then they come into me and they're like, well, holy crap. Well, why didn't I find this earlier? So it hurts me for a little while, but I just keep my head down and keep working. And then eventually everybody's revealed for what they are. And it just makes, just makes my business better. It just takes some time and I can be patient with that. The people who are like that, present company is not in that group, by the way, so don't internalize this, tend to be people who want to get rich quick. So we know that doesn't work. They tend to be only the highest paid person on OnlyFans just retired. She made $67 million in 3 years. And that looks very lucrative, right? To go and show your stuff on the internet. The average person on OnlyFans makes $4,000 a year. So that's what you miss. You miss that. You watching this have a weird filter where you only see the wild successes that people have. You tend to ignore the people who struggle or fail. So I don't know a lot about OnlyFans, but I can tell you that one of the highest paid people did like 67 million. And somebody says, oh, I'm not even going to read that out loud. I don't even want to know about that. Although if I could, I don't know, maybe. What if somebody says it was her toes? I mean, in all seriousness, could I put a camera under my desk and just film my feet all day and make money? Will somebody tell me if that's possible? You haven't seen my feet, but I will tell you this. I believe that I have feet that are slightly above average in terms of their appearance. I think they're just slightly better than the normal foot. So could I attach a camera under my desk and just film my feet all day and make money? I really do believe that. And I've said that my entire life, not even since the internet was like watching someone will pay. I will put a camera and I would show you my feet, but then I would think I would be, I would have to charge you for it. So I think I have just slightly above average looking feet. Maybe I'll do that and just test it out and see what happens. I think that you know way too much about this. Will you be my first client? I have somebody private messaging me. You'll be my first client. I think you know more about this than the average bear. You might be revealing something about you. I will not call you out in person. Okay? I will not call you out in person. Oh, I see. Somebody's now offered to manage this for me. Well, I will not call you out in person. I won't even say that if you're a man or a woman watching this now, telling me that you're going to manage my foot cam, my feet finder cam, I guess is what it's called. The algorithm is going to love this live video. The YouTube transcription algorithm is going to freaking love this thing. I'm going to get all these feet people. Mm. All right. As my new foot cam manager, for those who have just joined, we're supposed to be talking about if you can trust AI, but we have gotten sidetracked and we're now strategizing a business model where I got to run this by my wife. I don't know how she's going to feel about this. She doesn't care about my feet at all. So maybe she'll be fine. Maybe there won't even be a tinge of jealousy. So we need to get a camera under this desk, and then I need to be here barefoot and just filming my feet all day long. Like, what do the feet people like? My new foot manager. Tell what the feet people like. What do they like it when you take your toes and like do weird things with them? Oh, I've got something. I think the dog. Oh no, look it. I know what the feet people are gonna love. Oh, we are making a great business right here. We are gonna make so. Oh, they do like that. The little gnarling of the toes. Hold on, I'm gonna reach for something with my above average looking foot and show you what I've got. I think we're onto something. We should test this. Look at this. You ready? I have got a foot massage ball underneath my desk that I like rub my foot on like that. I bet the feet people will love that. Yep. What about, oh, right now I am curling my toes in and cracking them. Feet people gonna like that too. There is somebody that knows way more about this than the average person. And I totally love that about you. I totally love that about you. That's great. And I'm glad you're messaging me privately on this, and I will never, ever reveal your identity to the rest. Okay, so the equipment that we need. We are going to need a camera. We're going to need a light. We're going to need a microphone to hear my foot cracks, to hear the cracking of the toes. I bet that's a big one, right? I'm going to need to get a pedicure on my feet toenails because even though my feet are above average, my toenails are below average. So we're going to work on that, and we'll put it down there, and it's going to be and go live and record it. Okay, so now we've got somebody here on YouTube, Draco. I freaking love that name. How do you get a cool name like Draco? What happens? Oh, record the pedicure service. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have someone come. By the way, this is all related to business because we're talking about making money. Draco, listen, my friend. We are supposed to be talking about AI today. We're supposed to be talking about if you can trust AI, and I'm going to get to that. Literally in 3 minutes, I'm going to shut this conversation down. But right now, we're developing a business model where I'm going to sell live video of my feet underneath my desk because someone has just revealed to me that they think it would be incredibly profitable for me to do so. You were born with that name. I want you to, if you can, boy, if you can, you call your parents and thank them for giving you a cool name. If you can't, pray to them and thank them for giving you a cool name. If I had a name like Draco, do you know how much more successful I would be? It means dragon. It really does. You guys know my obsession is vampires. My second obsession is dragons, like that Game of Thrones stuff. That's why I've got the Game of Thrones hairstyle. Meanwhile, Draco doesn't need this. Draco was born a dragon. Unreal. Good for you, dude. Or dudette, if you're a woman or a man. I don't know. Let me know. But listen, I'm glad you're here. So we're going to close out this conversation on feet, but the YouTube algorithm is going to love this. I feel bad for the people that didn't show up today because a lot of people messaged me saying I got other things I can't be on the 12 o'clock. Camera. I'll start with a one camera angle. I know, you know what we could do is here's what we could do. Manager, my foot manager. Could do a two camera. We could do a close up and a far away and charge a premium for the close up. I'm thinking about how this thing works. I need a camera. I need a light. Microphone's going to be tough because I don't want people hearing my calls. So maybe when I'm not on calls, I'll turn that microphone on. Uh, we're going to, I feel bad. I feel bad. For people that have just showed up on the Zoom, I'm finishing out this conversation. I promise you. And then we'll move on. Yep. Different background. I love how much you know about this. Okay, I gotta get some small rugs. Okay, we're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna have a deeper conversation about this. For those who just joined, welcome aboard. We have just devised a business plan where I'm going to put cameras under my desk, film my feet, and charge people to watch my feet live all day long. That's okay. Oh, listen, Jim just mentioned that he's running a bit behind. Jim, you haven't missed anything. You haven't missed anything except the birth of a new business model. And then we'll bring this thing into the mix. Because I sit all day long and rub this thing under my foot. Okay. All right. Now everybody can calm down. So here's what's happened in the world. You, as a human being, you look and you have this weird filter that you have a filter to subordinate yourself. And it's just this is human nature. You have a filter to subordinate yourself and put other people on pedestals. You idolize them. So you have a filter in your brain that lets the idol go through, but it goes through so that you subordinate yourself, so that you feel worse about yourself. This is what people do. And it's unfortunate that people do this, but they do. Not everybody does this. And if some of you on this live on the Zoom, you got to hang out with me in Miami for a day where we undid that. Back in late 2023, we undid that. I taught you how to undo that. But most people filter through, they see other people being successful so they can push themselves down. And so then we talked about the OnlyFans girl that just retired. I don't know her name. I just know the dollar signs. She made about 67 million in 3 years on OnlyFans. And so you see that and you think OnlyFans, I'm going to make millions of dollars. Or, oh, look, no wonder because she's so beautiful. I could never do that, right? The average person on OnlyFans makes about $4,000. So then it's the same thing with like multi-level marketing. The multi-level marketing people, they drive around, they show off. Imagine this lifestyle. If you could live like the multi-level marketing people want you to believe they live, you would be like a celebrity. It's all the islands and the beaches and the cars and that. But then if you go and you look at how much you actually make inside of a multi-level marketing business, it's not enough to even sustain a car payment. And a very small percentage of people break beyond that. But you see that and it makes you feel worse about yourself. So then AI. So what's happening with AI? There are people who, and I tend to call them out online. Somebody online the other day posted, oh, they wrote, AI integration with LinkedIn messaging is the best client attraction hack. And so, first of all, if that does exist, which I'm gonna bet right now it doesn't, in the way that it should exist, if that does exist, that is going to break every single LinkedIn terms of service of your agreement. And you're right, Draco. Comparison is the theft of joy. You are right. You're going to break every single LinkedIn rule by doing that. And that will get you kicked off LinkedIn faster than you can ever imagine. In 2017, I wrote a program that automatically didn't scrape LinkedIn. It found my perfect prospect, looked at their profile, and sent connection requests. Back then, LinkedIn didn't have any restrictions on it, on how many you could do a day. I had a dedicated computer sitting here with me, sitting right over there in the corner, 24 hours a day, going out and finding prospects for me. And it was phenomenal until it wasn't. And that's the thing. All of this stuff is phenomenal until it's not. And listen to me very carefully. You might want to write this down. There's always a price to pay. You will always pay the price. You will always be regulated. And if you don't regulate yourself, an external force is going to come in and regulate you. A simplistic example for you. If you don't regulate yourself with your driving, an external force is going to come in and regulate you. So if you drive extremely fast and unsafe and you burn out and you drift and you run red lights, that's unsafe. If you can't find the strength to regulate yourself, an external force will regulate you. It will be a car accident that will regulate you. It will be your car will stop working well if you treat it poorly. That will come in and regulate you. Law enforcement will regulate you. So all of these forces that are going to regulate you, they're the forces of physics that will come in and regulate you, right? If you don't regulate what you put into your mouth every single day, the force of gravity is going to regulate you because you're going to step on the scale and you're going to go, what happened? That's going to regulate you because you didn't take responsibility to regulate yourself. Just like in force, Jim says in my mastermind, Force Acceleration, Chris Prouty will regulate you. That's very true. That's very true. But don't make this about me. That's part of me regulating you. Make it about you. So if you don't regulate what you eat, the force of gravity will regulate you. Further, the force of ill health will regulate you. And then, so that's a physical force. That is an energetic force. And then humans will step in and regulate you. A doctor will regulate you. A mortician will regulate you. Sorry. Your family might regulate you. Society might regulate you. So there are all of these layers of regulation that if you can't take the responsibility to regulate yourself, they're going to come in and regulate you. So there's always a price to pay. And the wave can't stay up. The wave will come down. And the tide comes in and the tide goes out. All of these things are in balance with each other. But when you don't regulate yourself and you go out of balance, an external force is going to come in and regulate you, and there's a price to pay. And that's where you pay the price. So with AI, most of the people who are using AI right now are using the dog and pony show, the quick tricks to try to get a leg up on business because they want to get rich quick. You can't get rich quick. You cannot. You can't. I'm telling you right now. Don't even try because you can't. They want to try to get rich quick. They want things to be incredibly easy, easier than they should be. And they don't want to do work. They don't want to do the work. Well, in the universe, there's always a price to pay and everything will be in balance. When something is incredibly easy somewhere in your life, something else is going to be very difficult in your life to keep you in balance. You cannot live a life of complete and utter ease. Oh, but wait a minute. Wait a minute, Prouty. But what if I inherited $20 million? Can I just live a life of ease? Well, no, you can't. Because that life of ease, there will be a price to pay. You live the life of ease and suddenly you get lazy and you get sloppy and you get fat and you get unhealthy and suddenly you can't move and you die 20 years before you really should. You paid the price. You paid the price. And that's just one example. You got $20 million? Well, there's a price to pay for that. You've got to think about managing that. You've got to deal with the condition that people that aren't used to having that kind of money struggle to hold on to that kind of money. If you want an example, look at the experiment that was done in the Soviet Union in the 50s, where they decided to give every single person an equal share of money from the government. They gave everybody equal share across the board. The poorest of the poor, the richest of the rich, all got the same share from the sale of unused government assets. And they wanted to see what would happen. The poorest of the poor lost that money as fast as they got it. The richest acquired the money from the poor. And it works that way. Your mindset and your direction and your ability to handle things will self-replicate and is self-similar at scale. So it was universal. The rich found ways to extract the certificates from the poor. And the poor who didn't have money When they got the money, they quickly lost it. Now, modern times, look at a lot of sports people who didn't self-regulate. Sports people who didn't self-regulate will make millions of dollars. They will lose that money as fast as they made it, and they will go into bankruptcy. Just do a Google search for sports figures in bankruptcy. You'll see Nadia Comaneci, I think is the person's name. Mike Tyson. They lose the money as fast as they get it because they don't self-regulate. Now, look at another example. Look at Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski self-regulated. He took every dollar he made and put it into a bank account, and he wouldn't let himself touch it. And he lived off little bits of money. Lived a simple life, lived off little bits of money. That money stayed, growed, and now he has a life, but there's always a price to pay. He paid the price in advance. During his career, when others were living the lavish lifestyle, he saved, put the money away. He paid the price because there's always a price to pay. And remember that. There's always a price to pay. When something is easy here in your life, somewhere else something is going to be difficult to keep you in balance. When you are happy about something, keep in mind there is something somewhere else that you really are not very happy about. When you perceive something as being exciting, somewhere else in your life there is something that is boring that's keeping you in balance. When you perceive something as boring, somewhere else in your life there's something that's exciting that's keeping you in balance. The wave can't stay up, nor can the wave stay down. The ocean always self-regulates. It would be wise for you to figure that out. So if you're relying on AI to do your life, there's a price to pay for that. Let's talk about what some of those prices are. A friend of mine who does real estate in Miami called me up and he said, I have an AI voice assistant that is answering all of my calls and answering questions from my prospects. It's the coolest thing in the world. And that does sound like the coolest thing in the world. Imagine you don't have to answer your phone and answer questions and it schedules people on your calendar. That sounds phenomenal to me, right? And doesn't it sound phenomenal to you as well to have an AI agent answering your calls? About 3 weeks after he implemented it, he called me and he said, I need your help. I don't know what to do. My AI voice agent is lying to people. It's not telling people the truth. They're asking about specific properties and it's giving them misinformation. And now these people are getting on my calendar and they're saying, but that person I talked to told me X, and you're telling me Y. His credibility, his authority, his expertise, and his trustworthiness instantly vanish when that happens. Irreparable. You do not come back from that. In the world of real estate, you don't come back. You don't get more than a half a chance with somebody because there's so many people right now that are doing real estate. There's just so many people. The competition's fierce. So you get somebody on a call and says, hey, I'm calling about the property at 65 Collins Ave. The person I talked to initially told me that it was available and it was $680,000 for a 1-1. And he had to say, no, that's not the price. The price is 1.2 million and it's a 1.5. Oh, but the person I talked to said it was this. But you talk to, Draco says, AI be like, hey boss, I can't tell why I lied to your client, but I did. So there's a price to pay. My buddy wants the ease of having an AI answer the phone. I can understand that. There's a price to pay. And for every new client he gets, he might be losing one because of lost credibility. And look, that person is not going to be quiet about it, right? That person is going to tell other people. So there's always a price to pay. The ease that you have now, you're going to pay with toil in the future or somewhere else in your life right now. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. So that's example number one. Example number two, can you trust AI? Just yesterday, you can Google this. Apple, the company Apple, who makes all of the things, literally like everywhere that I touch right now, apparently something's made by Apple, except for my football, except for the ball that I do that every day. Callback. You'll find me on OnlyFans. Maybe I'll make my own website. That's what I'll do. Apple had to shut down its Apple Intelligence service that summarizes news articles yesterday. Draco, I'm going to read that in a second. That is very important what you just wrote. Um, Apple had to shut that part of their Apple AI down because it was misrepresenting the news. It was not telling the truth about the news. So instead of finding a fix, they had to shut it. They had to shut that part down with no prediction in sight of what's going to happen with it. So instead of summarizing the news and telling you what's going on, it was summarizing the news and lying to you. So there's always a price to pay. There's always a price to pay. Third example, I was talking with somebody about that this week. AI learns from what it can find on the internet or from what it's fed. AI learns from that. And someone was doing a really cool example of how that can be flawed or shapeshifted. I'll talk about that in a second. They asked ChatGPT to draw a picture of a watch where the time is like 6:31 or something like that, where the hands on an analog watch, for those of you who don't know what an analog watch is, it has hands that move around. And you tell the time by where the hands are. It asked to draw a picture of an analog watch with the time at 6:31. And the AI wasn't able to do it. The AI produced a bunch of pictures of watches with the time being 10:09. And so the reason that happens is if you just go to Google, and I'll share my screen, I'll do this with you. Just go to Google and search for anybody that sells watches. Well, like Bulgari makes some really beautiful watches. When the people who market watches have a picture of a watch, the time 10:09 is the most attractive time on a watch. And the second hand is usually right around 35 or 36, somewhere around there. So 10:09, 36 seconds. You look, do it right now for yourself. Just Google. Would someone please buy this watch and send it to me? Would you just do that as a favor to me? I want that watch really bad, but I won't spend money on a watch like that. Look at the times. And there's 149 examples on this one page alone. And it's not just Bulgari that does it. Look at anybody who sells, look at that. That is a striking watch right there. It's not, look at who's another big watchmaker. There's one that just came onto the market that I really kind of like, but I can't remember the name. But they have like an octopus. They're like an octopus on the face of their watch. Who is it? It doesn't matter. But look, just look at all of these watches. Their logo was an octopus, but I cannot remember the name of the company because I just discovered them. But anybody who sells a watch, look at the time. So the only thing that AI has to go on is what it can find on the internet. Oh, I see. Thank you. Thank you, my manager. Thank you for sharing that with me. Now I get it. Okay. That helps. So the only thing that AI has to go on is the information it's fed from the internet. And if AI is only fed pictures of watches at 10:09, that's the only thing it can produce. So on the surface, so what, right? On the surface, so what? So I've got to take a watch and put it at the time I want and take a picture of it. Okay, no big deal. That's the surface structure. The depth structure of this is much more complex. Because what if there was a big effort among some of the big players to put out information that skews in a direction? Not necessarily true, not necessarily false, but contributes towards a position. And now AI only has that to collect. And then you ask AI a question, and it spits out what you think is unbiased information, but it's actually skewed information. What if, here's what happens in crypto, by the way. If you're doing anything other than the top coins in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, if you're doing anything other than that, you are the subject of what's called a pump and dump, where a bunch of people will get together and they will promote a coin to get a bunch of people to buy it, which will elevate the price, and then all of those people get out. They sell and they make a ton of money. That's a pump and dump. They get together in an effort to pump up one coin. The people who don't know what a pump and dump is are like, oh, look, everybody's talking about this coin. Go buy this coin. Go buy this coin. Go buy this stupid picture of a monkey smoking a cigarette that's a JPEG and go spend a bunch of money on it. Why? Remember those from a couple of years ago? So what if the same thing happened in an orchestrated effort with AI? And now, pardon me for getting really complex with this. What if the system feeds itself? What if one person used AI to build an entire system of influential first order nodes, and with one command had all of those first order nodes gently sway something in a direction, and now all the other AIs pick up on that and start producing results based on that. Should I buy stock in this company? AI only has the information it can find on this. And if that information has been shifted to alter your perception through the tool, you now have a problem. Because you think you're getting unbiased information, but you're getting information that has been shifted. Because all AI has is what it can find. What time is it, AI? It's 9 past 10. No, it's midnight. Not according to what I have. Not according to the information I have. Hey, AI, I want to know what time it is. Draw me a picture of a watch with the current time. 10 past 10. Oh, all right, it's 10 past 10. I guess I'm not late. And that's just a surface level example of what can happen in the depths. Okay, so we talked about my example. I have somebody I was working with today was talking to an AI agent for a company. I don't want to say the name of the company, but let's imagine the name of the company is I was going to use a foot name, but I won't. Let's imagine the name of the company is like Tenco, and they're on with an AI agent from Tenco, and they said, "I have a question about Tenco's migration service." I screen captured this. The AI agent came back and said, "I don't know what Tenco is." The name of the company that it represents. I don't know what that is. Imagine if you called a human and said, "Hey, I have a question about," they're like, I don't know what that company is. Wait, I just called that company. So again, an example of where you have to be careful. And then just go back even the past year, you can see examples where AI was asked to draw pictures of World War II soldiers, and it drew Native American Indians dressed as Nazis. That might be trouble. There might be a little bit of trouble there. So is it all doom and gloom? Absolutely not. What I'm telling you is there's always a price to pay. So if you're looking for ease, you've got to do the work somewhere else. I'd prefer you to do the work in advance. If you're looking for get rich quick, take a breath and just remember you can't. You just can't. You're not going to. Okay? I hate to put it in such simple terms, and I'm not going to say it depends. You can't. I want you to get rich slowly, like the people in my masterminds. I want you to get rich slowly because when you get rich slowly, you don't miss anything and it works for a long period of time. The people who get rich quick, you're going to get poor just as quick. Point number 2 is there's always a price to pay. Point number 3, find ways to self-regulate. And if you can't self-regulate, external forces are going to step in and regulate you. And this is true everywhere in your life. This is true of your business, of your money, of your family, of your fitness, of your intellect, of your spiritual endeavors, and of your social endeavors. If you don't regulate yourself in any of those areas, physical properties, metaphysical properties, mental properties, health properties, society, other humans, family, friends, society, someone is going to step in and regulate you. You will always be regulated. So if you can self-regulate, you keep yourself from being regulated by others. My real estate buddy is being regulated by potential clients because he didn't self-regulate and he, Wild West, implemented a technology that wasn't ready for ease and trying to make more money fast. He paid the price with clients calling him up and saying, the person that I spoke to told me that this was available for a certain price. You're telling me it's not. And they're done. They're done. There was a lie that happened at the beginning. They will never recover from that. So he is being regulated not by his own, he didn't self-regulate. So he's being regulated by others. He's being regulated by humans that could have been his clients had he just picked up the phone. Draco says, I believe human touch is the most important thing in the age of AI. People are just craving it because they do not know what to trust anymore. That is the basis of everything that I do in my business and I'm glad you said that because I said at the beginning of this, when somebody asked me if I thought about writing a book, I say, no, I don't wake up in the morning and think about doing anything other than giving my clients every part of me. The most important thing in the world to me is my business. And I make no apologies for that. And I wake up every morning thinking about every single one of my clients. Some of them I think in groups. Some of them I think of as individuals. Some of them I think of as small collab units. But I think to myself, what can I do today to make these people's businesses and lives better? That's all I do. And if people who are here on YouTube ever get the experience to do that, which by the way, you can, you gotta come meet with me first. You go to prouty.me. I'll put that in the chat. That will get you on my calendar. And then if I decide to keep that meeting with you because you said the right things, you find out what it's like. That's my last name.me, by the way. Shame on me for not promoting that sooner. You guys know what I mean. So I wake up every day and my priority is you. It's you. Even you people here, even Draco here on YouTube. I want you to have a better life. I really mean that. I really do. I want you to have a better life. And if something I said today opened things up for you, which you told me in the chat that it did, then, I woke up and I did the right thing today. Learn to regulate yourself or you will be regulated by an external force. And that force is either going to be a physical force or another human force or a mental force, but there's going to be a force that regulates you. And every time that you find yourself in a position of hardship, ask yourself, what has regulated me into this position? What came in and regulated me? What was it that regulated me? Why am I experiencing this right now? What is regulating me that is causing me to experience this? You ask that question. And if you can be honest with yourself, you will discover an area where you should have self-regulated that you didn't. And I could keep repeating the examples, but I think you're smart enough to know. That's bringing us close to the top of the hour. I'm just going to go through. And Jim says, NVIDIA announced a personal computer that will enable anyone to build their own language module, their own GPT for personal use and small business use. That's pretty cool. And I agree. AI and crypto together can be a way to create independent prosperity, but there's a price to pay. You've got, as Jim says, study up now. You've got to pay the price in advance by learning that you pay in advance. Otherwise, you're going to pay in the end. And even if in the interim you make a ton of dough, that dough is going to very, very easily be lost because you didn't self-regulate. Draco, don't thank me. Thank you for being here and for being a part of this today. I'm like unbelievably grateful to have the dialogue that we were able to have today because I love having it with the clients who are on the Zoom, and then when somebody shows up on YouTube and gives me we get to interact as well. It's beautiful. You like literally made my day today. Like I'm having the greatest day today because of the people here on the Zoom, who we get to have coffee in 1 hour, by the way, and the people here in the YouTube. I'm so grateful for that. So if you're watching this live on the YouTube, thanks for being here. I have a couple minutes to answer any last questions. Otherwise, we'll adjourn for the day. We'll be back next week to do this all over again. By the way, if you want to brainstorm with me about your business, you're here watching this and you got a business, you want to brainstorm with me about smart, insightful, thoughtful ways to implement AI in your business, just hop into my calendar. Not a sales call in disguise. Just want to help you out. I want to help you out. While I've got you guys who are still here, tell me this. If I did a free night school where at like 10 p.m. Eastern, I taught a quick class like once a week, do you think anybody would show up for that? I was thinking about doing a night school. I do my Thursday workshops, and my Thursday workshops are so incredible. I get so many people showing up for those things. But then I'm like, I bet you there's a whole bunch of people that are busy during the day. And us entrepreneurs, yeah. Jim says that because 10 p.m. for him, 10 p.m. my time for him, for me, is dinner time for him. He'll be there. Um, I think us entrepreneurs, we tend to run really wild hours, right? What time zone, Draco, what time zone are you in? Are you on my mailing list, Draco? Please go get on my mailing list. Go to my website, go to 9twice.com and just sign up for my newsletter so that I can make sure you get an invitation to this. Go to there, go to 9twice.com and sign up for my newsletter. I'll make sure you get an invitation. So for those who just joined, a bunch of people just joined YouTube. Where have you been? You have missed a spirited hour of talking about, what did we talk about today? We talked about some really cool stuff. So I'm thinking about doing night school, like a 10 o'clock class once a week. It'll be a short class, teach you one cool thing, and then try to sell you to come into one of my programs. Because I mean, why wouldn't I, right? That's the smart thing to do. And so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. So just make sure you're on Draco. If we never run into each other again, just make sure you're on my mailing list so you get an invite to that. All right. YouTube, I'm going to shut you guys down and say goodbye to the people in the mastermind. So hang on just 1 second while I do this. Thanks for being here, YouTube. I'm really grateful for you guys. And Draco, Draco, when you go to bed tonight and you're reflecting upon your day, you made my day today by being here. You really did. You made my day today. So thanks for that. I don't know where you are in the world. I don't know who you are or what you do, but you made my day today.